All right, so in the last video, I kind of showed you guys how to use the substitution method, where the idea is that we're taking one equation essentially, and we're plugging it into the other equation to getting a variable. And then once we know one variable, we're plugging in to get the other variable. Okay, it is a long process. So in this video, I wanted to show you just a couple more examples of things you might encounter, things that might make the question a little bit more challenging, but we're still going to approach it the same way. Okay. So we're still going to do substitution method. Just want to do a couple extra examples with you. So one of the key things, so I want to put a little star as a null note, is remember that we need to have one of two scenarios. So we need to have either x equals something or y equals something. All right, we need to have one variable already solved for. If we don't have that, we need to do a little bit of extra work before we even start the question. Okay, and that's the kind of thing I want to show you today. So in the first example, normally they write the equations like on top of each other. I'm going to write them next to each other just to show you a little easier. So one equation is negative 7x minus 2y equals negative 13. And the other equation is x minus 2y equals 11. Okay, so now look at both of the equations. Neither one of them are set up in the structure of x equals this or y equals this, right? They both have x's and y's on the same side of the equal sign. So we have to do a little bit of work before we can even start, okay? What I would suggest is look at the two equations, look for the equation that has like a variable by itself, like has just an x or just a y, right? So if you look at the second equation, notice that the x is kind of by itself, right? There's no number in front of it. It's not like 2x, okay? So I would suggest to work with that equation first, because we can easily solve that equation for x, right? All we got to do is we got to add this 2y to the other side. Okay, so I'm just going to rearrange this equation to make it look the way we want it to. So these cancel. Now the x is by itself, and now it's equal to, I'm going to put the 2y first, 2y plus 11. Now we have what we need. Okay, we have an x equals. So now we can do the substitution method, where the idea, let me grab a highlighter. The idea is that because this is x, right, it says x equals, right, that's going to be plugged into the other equation where x is. So the part that I just highlighted, the green circle, is going to go right here. It's going to replace the x, okay? And if you do this one step at a time, it's not too bad, okay? So here's what that looks like. We write it out. So negative 7, oops, go back to a pen. So we still have that negative 7. Instead of that x, let's make a parentheses and let's plug in the part that I circled over on the right. So 2y plus 11. Then the rest of the equation is still there. So I still have the minus 2y and I still have the negative 13. Okay, so again, all I did was I took that highlighted part, that green highlighted part, and I plugged it in, I'll draw an arrow, plugged it into there. Okay, the whole purpose of doing that is so that the variable we have in our equation, we only have y's. So now we can solve for y. Okay, so that is some work, but let's do one step at a time. So we're going to take this negative 7. Let me go back to a pen, sorry. Negative 7, and we're going to multiply it to there and to there. Okay, so negative 7 times 2y is negative 14y. Negative 7 times 11, negative 77. The rest of it we didn't change, so bring it straight down. Okay, so now we can combine some like terms. We have y's on the same side of our equation. So what we can do is we can combine negative 14 and negative 2. Okay, when you combine them, we're not doing the opposites here. Negative 14 minus 2, negative 16. Again, everything else we didn't use, bring down. So minus 77 equals negative 13. Now we're finally down to a two-step equation. Okay, so it's this not too bad now, right? So now we can get rid of that 77. We'll add it to the other side. So those will cancel out. And we get negative 16y by itself. Use a calculator if you need to, but negative 13 plus 77 gives you a positive 64. And then the last step is to get rid of that 16. It's attached. So we're going to get rid of it by dividing. So divide by negative 16. Divide by negative 16. Let me scroll down a little bit. Okay. And we get our first answer. These cancel. Of y is equal to, you can use a calculator if you need to, negative 4. Okay. I want to circle it so we don't lose track of it. That's part of our answer. Okay. To get the other part, we need to know what x is. So we're going to take that and we're going to plug it in to the other equation. The one over here with the green circle. Okay. Is y. So that, negative 4, is going to go replace it there. Okay. So that's what we're going to do. So we have x equals, and we're replacing that y. So we have 2, and instead of y, we're plugging in negative 4 plus 11. This one's a lot easier. Okay, 2 times negative 4 is negative 8, and negative 8 plus 11 is 3. So that's the other part of our answer. Now to finally conclude the question, we had to put them together. Remember that your answer is always in the format of x comma y. So even though we solved for y first, that doesn't matter. It's always x comma y. So our answer here is going to be 3 comma negative 4. Okay, so that is our official answer to this system of equations. Okay, so the process is the same. This is just kind of a more challenging question. We had to do a little bit of work ahead of time because again, we need to have either x equals something or y equals something. Otherwise, we get stuck and we can't really use this method. Okay. All right, I want you guys to try one on your own. I'll get you guys started on it and you guys can kind of finish it. Okay. So example number 2. Again, I'll start it and I'll then want you guys to finish it. Okay, so your system of equations is the following. Negative 4x plus y equals 6, and negative 5x minus y equals 21. Okay, so again, neither one of the equations is already solved for. We don't have x equals this or y equals this. So we do need to rearrange one of the equations. So looking at them, both equations have just a y, right? It's not like 2y or 3y, it's just y. I would say the easier one to rearrange would probably be the top one because it has a positive y, and we can easily move that 4x to the other side. Okay, so let's say we do that one. I'm going to write that off to the side over here. So negative 4x plus y equals 6. This one's really easy to rearrange because all you got to do is add 4x to the other side. Okay, so our new equation is y is equal to 4x plus 6. Okay, so now we're set up to use substitution method, right? We have y equals something, so we're taking this, and because this is y equals, it's going to go over here and replace the y value right there. Okay, so here's how that would look. Negative 5x minus, and then instead of y, parentheses, 4x plus 6 equals 21. Okay, so now we're set up. We can solve for x. Okay, I'll do one more step, then I want you guys to finish it. Okay, so one more step is this negative applies to both of these. So we get negative 5x minus 4x minus 6 equals 21. Okay? All right, at this point, I want you guys to pause the video, keep going, get your x value, Once you know what x is, plug it in to get your y value. Okay, so keep going, see what you guys get. And then after you have your complete answer, press play, and you can check your work. All right, so hopefully you had a chance to try it out. If not, I definitely recommend try it on your own first. Okay, so the first thing is we're going to do is we're going to combine these x's. -5 and -4 make -9x. Okay, down to a two-step equation. So let's go ahead and move this 6 to the other side. We get -9x equals 27. And now let's get rid of that -9. It's attached, so we'll divide. Okay, I'm going kind of quick because hopefully you already tried it and you're just kind of making corrections along the way. So we get our answer of x is equal to, this works out perfectly, -3. Again, I'm circling it because that's part of our answer, but it's not our complete answer. Okay, so now we know what x is. So we're going to go back to our other equation, the one over here with the green circle, and we're going to replace the x over there with a -3. So y is equal to 4 times -3 plus 6. Okay, so I took this -3 and plugged it in. Okay, and then we're going to simplify. 4 times -3 is -12. And finally, -12 plus 6 is -6. That's the other half of our answer. Now we just have to put it together. Remember x comma y, so our official answer is -3 comma -6. Okay, all right. Keep in mind, this is one of those topics that most students struggle with. It's not something you're going to get very right away. Um, it's something you get better at the more you practice it. Okay, so make sure you guys are trying the assignments. Make sure you guys are trying the warm-ups. Right, the more you do, the better you're going to get at this. Okay, but it is definitely a challenging topic.